Ooni, you did your best, but the Oloris took it for your mess. Yes, you did your best, but the Oloris took it for your mess. So when gentility fails, brutality must exist. Yes, do you and shame your enemies. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the and Z TV, the place where we give you up to date information of what's happening in the entertainment industry and especially in the Ooni of Ife's palace. Whatever the gist is, whatever that's happening at the palace, the best and number one place to get it is none other but DNZ TV. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your popcorns, get your Coca Cola, everything that will make you happy, and come close to your phones or your laptops or whatever device you are watching from. Now, it is pertinent to note that the Oni's gentility has been taken for granted. Yeah, people are taking the Oni's gentility for granted. And so, right about now, it is time for the Oni to apply force or brutality to solve his predicament. As a matter of fact, the Oni wants to be detached from the norm which prioritizes prioritizes polygamy and now go and just begin to live only with one wife who is supposed and originally supposed to be Naomi. But notwithstanding the Oni's plans to activate himself into living righteous and living good, people are beginning to take him for a ride. People are beginning to take him for granted. That is why he has now opted for option B, which is actually him applying force, which has actually made him to allegedly want to ask everybody in the palace to leave the palace for the return of Naomi. Naomi gave an ultimatum that for her to return, every other person needs to leave because, excuse me, sorry, because that was not the agreement he had with the Oni of Ife. In throne, when the Oni was trying to convince Naomi into marrying him, it was agreed that she is the final bus stop. That was why she left everything she was doing. She left the church, she left the family, she left her career, and decided to dedicate every time she had for the service of the Oni of Ife, which, as a matter of fact, did not waste time in producing a son who is Prince Tade. Now, Tobi Phillips, in her manipulative endeavors to come to the palace and take space, has now gone to do IVF and to have a child for the Oni, which people are now saying, okay, if you now say this child belongs to the Oni, let there be a proof. Let there be a proof. And the only way you can prove is by having a DNA test. A DNA test is actually what will solve and settle every problem. So right about now, the DNA test is something that Tobi Phillips is finding it very difficult to do. They have tried, they have pushed, they have done everything humanly possible. But guess what? The more they try, the more they strive. She does not want to understand that the Oni really, really wants to get it right. It does not matter how Oni tries to fight, it does not matter how Oni tries to get it right. But people are they just keep on making us feel that the throne is a place where people come to throw shades up and down. People come to act and do so many things. Now, Toby Phillips feels being involved in sorcery and witchcraft will sustain her, but God has proven her wrong several times. If Tobilola Phillips continues to castigate Queen Naomi for no just cause, Tobilola Phillips will remain miserable. You see, misery is something that anybody who puts his hands on an evil thing will always confront. You cannot be in a place where you are You cannot, I say it every time on this platform, your hands clean. Not when you're planning to go to Equity and all you do is to put your hands dirty, put your hands dirty. It is not going to work. Yes, it cannot work. For you to go to Equity, please, I'm begging, make sure that your hands are clean, because it's only a man with the clean hands that can actually have dinner with the king. So for all these people who are struggling to have dinner, and their hands are filthy, full of evil, full of things that are not speakable, then it is going to be a very tough decision to make. Now, what amazes me is so many people have been coming to ask Naomi's hand in marriage. So the truth about the matter is, Naomi is not jobless. Naomi still carries the grace that she went to the Ooni's palace with. The grace is still abundant. People take out time. People like Pastor Jerry Eze, people like Adejumo, powerful people. They take out time to intercede for Naomi. And interceding for her is something that you cannot just close an eye on. It's something that once you know that Naomi is involved in this thing, my brother, things will just turn around for you. And that was why things really, really turned around for Naomi. Do you remember that few weeks after Naomi left the palace, there were several calamities around the palace? The other time they said part of the palace got burnt. The other time they said no cry of a baby was heard in the house. And don't also forget, it was after Queen Naomi prayed for the palace. That's when Tobi Phillips now got pregnant. And now the issue now is that Tobi Phillips did not even wait for the prayers of Naomi to be answered. She hurriedly went to do IVF, which in turn is now backfiring, because there's every tendency that she wanted to act God. She wanted to be faster than her shadow. She wanted to help God. God is not somebody that anybody is going to help. No, God does not need your help. God does not need your help to justify himself or tell us who he is. There's this song say he is God all by himself. And if Tobi Phillips is not careful, she's going to be thrown out of the palace immediately. She's going to be so thrown out of the palace. That is because the palace is not a place where people just go there to try their muscles. People just go there to do things that you cannot comprehend, you cannot understand. We have actually tried to see that things fall in pleasant places. But guess what? The more they are trying, the more they are scattering, the more they are castigating, the more they are getting more stubborn and more disrespectful. The level of disrespect in that palace is something that one cannot even comprehend or imagine. People just have a way of doing things that you cannot even understand. So that is why we are pulling one voice to make sure that the right thing is done. The right thing is done. The right thing needs to be done. People should be given their due place in the palace. Yes. Naomi must not tolerate any such deceitful ploys. The deceitful ploys are just too enormous. Tobi Phillips should be thrown out of the palace and the Ikoyi mansion. You know, she's been clamoring for that Ikoyi mansion, clamoring for Ikoyi mansion, because that's a place where she wants to stay and activate all her atrocities. She needs to be thrown from that place. And when that happens, then we can now begin to have a conversation. Naomi agrees to meet Miriam. What does the light have in common with darkness? I think there's nothing wrong in Naomi wanting to meet her. She needs to meet her because she wants to show her that she is exempted. She is not like her, who does not comprehend and have human understanding of what is happening. Tobi has to do that DNA before returning to the palace. She has to do it first. Tobi, you're too mouthy, saying all kinds of things about Naomi. Please don't compare yourself with Naomi. She's blessed by God, okay? Stay away from Naomi. There is no room for comprehension at all, at all. All the people who have labored to see that they bring Naomi down, what now happens? They always have a way of going back to status quo. Tobi, stop messing up your life and brand and go and do your DNA. Look, if somebody has already said go and do a DNA, and you know in your true mind that, of a matter of fact, your hands are clean, what's the big deal going for a DNA? There's no big deal. DNA is actually something that will help everybody to relax. Everybody will now say, okay, finally, this thing is settled. But the more you try to run away from it, the more you try to prove yourself right, the more you're causing more catastrophe. That is why it is very, very pertinent to note that Ooni has actually done the best he can do. But yet, all these Oloris are still taking him for a mess. But guess what? His mess is something that one day will speak for him. Thank you so much, Grace Eze. I totally agree with all your suggestions. All right, thank you, Grace. We really appreciate you for coming. All right, people, this is how far we'll be going. We try not to make our live videos too long so that other people can be part of our conversation. If you're just joining us, please do well to subscribe to our channel, comment, like, and share. And if there's just anything you want us to talk about on this channel, let us know. And guess what? We will talk about it. All right. Thank you and do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.